Where is it that you live and where is this property?
I live in Doha, Qatar, and the property is in St. Louis, Missouri.
What is that? Like
Oh,
15,000 miles away from each other?
yeah, 15-hour flight.
15-hour flight, guys.
First, I was like lean auctions. Then I was like, this is really hard to do from here. And then I was like, I'll wholesale. That's easy. That was not easy because the hours were awful. Then I did short sales and then I did a flip and then I did another flip. And then I actually even have like a team in Florida as well. So my territories are Florida, Texas, and St. Louis, Missouri. And in Florida, my contractor in Florida, I met him at the Home Depot. And now he flips houses for me in Florida.
You're in three
So,
different states. You're investing
yeah.
in three different states. And you're not even physically in the country.
No.
Crazy. You and I, we met on YouTube. You seeked me out because you wanted to
Yes.
buy a property using a credit card, and then you found me and you found one of my videos, and then you were like, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to him. And so you
Yep.
did. And then we just started talking. And then first questions first, did you ultimately learn how to buy a property with the credit card and from what I showed you, and then did it work out?
Yeah, so I needed $25,000 and I had a ton of personal credit cards, but and I was like, I don't I was using like Plastique and using these other transfer methods and they kept denying me and they're like, you need an invoice, you need and I was like, I'm just gonna find it on YouTube. And I went and I found you and I called you and you were like, well, that's really easy. You just call the bank and say, transfer the money to my account. And I was like, it can't be that easy. So then I called like the first bank and they're like, no, we can't do it. And I was like, oh, this guy lied to me. And then I called the next bank. They're like, yeah, you're available to transfer $20,000. And I was like, perfect, at 0% interest rate for 12 months. I said, even better. So like I got 20 from one card and five from another. And then I purchased the property on January 31st of this year. It was a duplex in St. Louis, already rented, needed like 25K of work, and I'm about to refinance it, and then I will own that property, um, and with renters already in it. So I'm not making a lot from it, but I own a property that I don't pay any money for, and then I'll get all my money back.
Right, right. So it's funny. It's funny because you call the one and you're like, oh, he's a liar. It doesn't work, right? And it's that's like a very key lesson for people to understand is that sometimes it's not going to work out for you in the way you pictured it, right? And so you called the first one, they said no, and then a lot of people would quit right there and just think like this
Mhm.
does not work. But it's not true. And then so you had that like grit, if you will, but all you did was call another one, the second one, and it worked.
Of the 100 credit cards I have.
Right, right. So you just called again and then it worked. But a lot of people don't have enough grit to make the second call or the 10th call that is needed for the thing that you're trying to do for it to work, right? And then by the time you called the second card, you got the money and you were like, oh my God, it's exactly the way he said. It's
Mhm.
exactly the way he said, even with the 0% APR. Because if you used Plastique or whatever, you would have to pay the interest.
Mhm.
Here, you don't even have to pay the interest, and it was super easy, and you didn't need to use a third-party provider to get the money over.
Yep, and it went right to my bank account. I mean, I think I there was a small fee, like $200. That's
Yes,
cheaper than Plastique. So
still
like
cheaper.
I was took it, and yes, I'm nervous now that there's like $20,000 sitting on a credit card, but I know that I paid in July, or I will refinance, and then I will have it paid off, and it's 0%. So who
Right.
cares?
Right. So let's talk about that real quick. So a lot of people would lose their mind thinking about
Yeah.
that they just spend $20,000 on a credit card, even if it is to buy a house. Like, oh my
Hmm.
God, what about the interest? Well, we already talked about that. The interest is 0%, which is
Hmm.
fantastic. But then how are you going to pay off this credit card? What are you going to do? What
So
is your
I'm
plan?
gonna refinance the property. The ARV is like 230. It was just a basic appraisal, so it might be even more. Um, and I'm only in 130,000. So if I can get 75% of the loan, I'll get my 25 that I put back in. I'll get my rehab paid for, and then I might even have a little extra
Yeah.
to play with there. And then I own a property.
So you said the ARV was like 250?
Yeah, 230, 250.
230,
Yeah, so
250, right?
mhm,
So then it's really cool because like 230, 250, right? You're all in for 130. So let's
mhm,
go with the lower number of 230,
mhm,
right? You have $100,000 in equity,
correct.
right? $100,000 in equity right there. And even if you don't cash flow a lot, your net worth just jumped by $100,000. I
Correct.
like to ask people all the time, like, how long would it take you to save $100,000? And it's like
Forever.
forever. It's like my whole life. I don't know because they don't know because they've never done it. But how
Mhm.
long does it take you to create $100,000 in equity? I don't know,
Mhm.
6 months,
Yeah,
right?
six
'Cause you-
months. Exactly.
right. And so then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to renovate and then refinance this property. And when you refinance the property, the bank or whoever is going to look at the property, say, "Oh, this property is worth 250. We're willing to give you a loan of, let's say, 200, not the full amount, slightly less. So they'll give you a loan for 200, and then you borrowed $130,000, whether it's from credit cards, friends and family, your own savings, whatever. You use some kind of money, and then you're going to use that 200,000 that the bank gives you, and you're going to pay off the 130. You're going to put all this extra money in your pocket because 200,000 minus the 130, and let's say there's some closing costs and other things, right? So let's
Hmm.
just call it 150. You still have $50,000 left over of
Hmm.
cash out refinance money that's
That I don't
tax
pay
free,
taxes on. Woo!
no taxes, right? Tax free money that you put in your pocket that you can spend on whatever you want. And now you have a tenant in the property paying you every single month. And then you're using that money to pay the bank back because you owe them whatever you owe them every single month for the $200,000 loan they gave you. But that's coming from the tenant. So you just increased your net worth by $100,000. You have this cash flow coming in. Your property's appreciating maybe, right? We don't bank on that, but your property most likely is appreciating just because of inflation or whatever.
Hmm.
You're paying down that mortgage every single month and you have tax benefits, which is
Hmm.
really cool. So you did the five piece. So the first one is when she did it correctly, she bought it for way under the value. So that's the equity. That's your net worth. Boom, right? That's big pop. The second one is the one that everybody knows about. That's the cash flow. You're collecting rent and then you're paying your mortgage, your taxes and insurance, and maybe some maintenance. And whatever's left over, you got the cash flow. So that's that. Then the other one people know about is the appreciation. The appreciation is where the property gains in value, whether or not the property value is going up because the neighborhood's getting better, or because your dollar is getting weaker and it just costs more dollars to buy it. So either way, appreciation, it's keeping up with that. The next one, oh, here we go. The next one is the depreciation, which is the tax benefits that go against your taxes when you make money. You have depreciation. It goes against the cash flow that came in. So then you don't have to pay taxes on that money. And then the final one is principal pay down. Every month that you pay your mortgage, your principal balance goes lower, 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 lower. And as it goes lower, you are richer because you owe less to the bank. So that's the five ways that people make money from buying rental properties. And you did all of that from the comforts of your own home because where is it that you live and where is this property?
I live in Doha, Qatar, and the property is in St. Louis, Missouri.
What is that? Like
Oh,
15,000 miles away from each other?
yeah, 15-hour flight.
15-hour flight, guys.
Yeah.
So, and right now you work full time too, right?
Yes. So I'm a teacher in Doha, Qatar, an international PE teacher. I've lived here for 8 years. I work from 6:30 in the morning until 3. Then I come home, spend time with my family, and then at 5 p.m. I'm usually online, talking to my property managers, talking to my construction guys, getting pictures, talking to agents. I do use agents to purchase properties because I just trust them more to look at properties and scope them out for me. It might cost me more and a little bit more in the long run, but to me, it's a better eye on things. So the property I did buy was a wholesale deal on Facebook, and I sent my agent friend over to check it out, and she's took her construction husband, and they like talked really bad about the property, even though they know it was really good. So we won it because there was another buyer there, and it became our property. So like I have a construction team in St. Louis, I have an agent in St. Louis, and they work together to find me the best properties to invest.
Did you pick St. Louis because you have the agent and the construction team there, or was it just coincidence that you found a property in St. Louis? Like, how did that transpire?
So I lived in St. Louis for 11 years prior to moving to Colorado and some other places. And my friend, she's been my friend for about 20 years. She's one of the top performing agents in St. Louis, Missouri. And her husband happens to be one of the best contractors in St. Louis, Missouri. So I lucked out on a good team. And the properties there are affordable. So they're affordable with higher rents that I can afford. So I bought a duplex for it's a duplex for 200,000, which you're not going to find a duplex in, say, Florida or Texas, not in like a brick duplex that's super um, well put together for that price. And the rents take care of it. So it's really and it's a huge populated city. So it's really easy to get renters into your place.
Wow, that's incredible. So what I pulled from that little story you just said, the gem, was stay friendly with people for years and years and years because you never know which direction your life is going to go. Like you
Mhm.
didn't know 20 years ago that you were going to be a real estate investor living in Qatar and that you're going to ask your friend who was going to become a real estate agent who's going to marry a contractor. Like you didn't know that all of that was going to happen. But when you decided to become a real estate investor, you were like, hey, friend for 20 years, you and like, would you be my agent? And would your husband, who's a rock star contractor, be my contractor? Like, most people will say, like, oh, she got lucky. Did she? Or was she an amazing person for the last 20 years? And then her friend, who remained her friend for the 20 years, was like, yeah, I can help you. Right. So always expand your network, always be
Mhm.
friendly to everybody because you just never know what you're going to be doing in life later.
Right. Well, currently I have a short-term rental going up in Texas right now. I contacted a short-term rental manager on Facebook. Everyone recommended her, and I met her and her husband. Her husband's a contractor. So now I have another team in Texas as well. I took them out to lunch. I bought them a beer, and we talked about our plans for the future. She's a good person. She's doing my flip right now in Grand Prairie, Texas, between Dallas and Fort Worth, and he's contracting my deck and my bathroom, and she's setting up my short-term rental, and we're gonna get it on the road in the next month and a half. So super excited.
As much as I like your story about your friend in
Yes.
Missouri and all that. I like what you just said even better because this person you didn't know. You
Mm-mm.
found them on Facebook. You're not from Texas. Like you made that happen from where you are, right? You and other people can mimic that. They're like, okay,
Hmm.
I don't have a best friend who for 20 years who is a real estate agent and a contractor, but you don't that person in Texas isn't your friend at all. They might be
Hmm.
now, but
Hmm.
they weren't then. You just found kind of like how you found me. Like you found me
Yeah,
on YouTube. We didn't know
exactly.
each other at all. And then we just
Exactly.
started talking and I was like, wow, you're amazing. And then we stayed connected.
Thanks.
So the person in Texas, you found them, and then now they're a
Mhm.
part of your team. And again, you're doing this from 15-hour flight away. So
Yes. Yes.
incredible, incredible. And then you're a full-time phys ed teacher,
Yes.
and you're a full-time mom, right? Because that
Mom.
never stops.
Hmm. Right.
And you're a full-time wife, and then your
Yes.
husband wasn't necessarily on board with even you doing this. So you had how many hurdles, how many mountains did you just climb over with all of that, right?
There
You're
was a lot. And in real estate, there's like so many things you can do. So I was like, first I was like lean auctions. Then I was like, this is really hard to do from here. And then I was like, I'll wholesale. That's easy. That was not easy because the hours were awful. Then I did short sales and then I did a flip and then I did another flip. And then I actually even have like a team in Florida as well. So my territories are Florida, Texas, and St. Louis, Missouri. And in Florida, my contractor in Florida, I met him at the Home Depot, and now he flips houses for me in Florida.
in three
So
different states. You're
yeah,
investing in three different states. And you're not
yeah,
even physically in the country.
no.
Crazy. Crazy. So how did you have your husband finally get on board, even though he was totally against the idea? Because there are people listening to the show right now, like my spouse is not for it. They think it's risky. They hate what I'm doing in terms of how busy I am. They all of that kind of stuff. So what happened with you guys?
So I did my first like wholesale deal, and I showed him the bank account, and he was like, Okay, think I think maybe this will be okay. $18,000, that's not bad, I guess. This was like year one. I did a lot of risky bad things though and made a lot of bad decisions doing that, but I brought it to the finish line, thank God. Um, I lost some money too. I lost like 20,000 lending on not doing good research. I didn't tell him about that, but maybe after he sees this, he'll know. And then I got myself together, and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. So I actually had my parents help. They gave me the equity of their house. I know not everybody has that fortunate either, but then as soon as they gave that, I'm like, well, we can't just hold it and keep paying it. We need to invest. So I just started looking for deals, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a rental. I'm gonna get rentals, and then the properties I found, I educated myself for 2 years before I started going hardcore. So the one property I bought that's a short-term rental is a seller finance deal. My husband, I took him to the property when we were visiting during Christmas. I showed him the property. I said, "This is what I'm going to do with it. This is what we're going to do with this." And he was like, "Okay." All right. Then another I bought a sub two deal, and I'm like, "This is going on Section 8. This is a great Section 8 area." And it didn't need a lot of work, so he's like, "Okay." And I bought that for like 25,000 sub two. And then the property, I'm actually flipping a fourplex with my the one in St. Louis. I got it for my friend's contractor husband found that for me for 25,000. But they charged a wholesale fee of 25, but they figured it out how I was going to be all in at 200 and the properties were 360, and I'm like, perfect. So like I really lucked out, but I also feel like the connections I've made and the friendships that I've had and how I can communicate with people. And my husband knows that I'm super talkative, obviously, and he's more of a less, like I say, less risk. He's a military man and he just doesn't want to make too many mistakes. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but all the I've started presenting properties that I knew were going to be successful. And then he saw that how they were going to be successful and he is on board now. But it took 2 years to do all that stuff.
2 years for the rest of your life. I think it's a great.
Yes.
Yeah. And the mistakes that you made, the situations where you lost money, it comes with the territory. So
Hmm.
I like to share this little thing about Elon Musk, whether people hate him or love him, whatever, right? So he has SpaceX and he created a rocket ship that could land by itself, right? It can go up and then it can come back down and land, right? And what's crazy is he did this within his lifetime. He did this within the last, let's say, decade. And how long has NASA been in business? How long has every spaceship creating company all across the world been in business? For many decades now. And Elon, within like, let's say, like the last 5 years or whatever, as he's pursuing this, he was able to do it. And so, how is it that Elon is able to create a rocket ship that can land? And how can he be so much more efficient than all of these other companies? It's because he's not afraid to fail.
Hmm.
He has had many rocket ships explode, right? But after they explode, what happens is he learns from it. He goes, okay, what happened? Okay, oh, we can't use that material. We can't use that size washer. We can't use that much thrust. We can't do this, that, the other. He's not afraid to make the failures so that he could progress. And it's not until you hit your limits, until you hit your barriers, that you realize where they are. So you're
Hmm.
like, okay, I did this. Okay, maybe that didn't work. And then you reiterate. There are a million people making $1 million doing whatever it is that you like lost money in. And so if they were able to do it, why is it that they're able to do it? Well, they're doing it a certain way.
Hmm.
And all you got to do is model what they're doing. And part of you modeling what they're doing is also you figuring out what not to do. So
Hmm.
Elon figured out with four exploded rockets what not to do so that his fifth one could land and change the world. So
Correct.
don't worry about that. And for Jennifer's husband, if you're listening to this, she's doing what all successful people have done in the past, tried things, maybe taken a little bit of a hit, but it's okay. It's not about not falling down, it's getting up after you fall down. So the risk that you took was small enough that if it went well, fantastic. But if it didn't go well, you're not bankrupt. You're not living under a bridge. You're not homeless. It's fine. Here you are telling me about how you're about to create hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in all these other deals.
Right.
So it's okay that you took a couple bruises here and there.
Yeah.
So Jennifer's husband and every other husband or wife listening to this that may not be on board with your spouse's decision to try to become super successful doing something outside of a 9 to 5 job, it's part of the territory. Be okay with it because it all it does is it takes that one person who stays up real late doing things outside of the norm to change the trajectory of a family's future forever. So
Yeah.
your daughter at 5 years old gets to benefit from you grinding it out and taking this path that most people do not take. And so,
Yeah, and it's hard to kind of switch your mindset sometimes. Like I'm dealing with thousands of dollars, and now like I own $1.6 million of property. And like when to think about that is like before I'd be like, oh, that's a lot. Like, wow, I can't believe that. But now I'm thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna buy this $400,000 property. It's okay. And we just bought our own personal house just recently last year, and it was 500,000, and my husband was freaking out. And now I'm like, we own $1.6 million, hon. We're gonna be all right. So it's hard to like think such big numbers because you never were taught that. You're taught to buy the small house and you're gonna live with it and your family forever. And that's not how it should be anymore. It's way more open thinking, and thank God he has me. Or
yeah, yeah. You know what's funny about that? Tim Ferriss, I think, mentioned it. It's that the the people that you compete with at the level of the small house is the
Mhm,
fiercest competition of all because everybody is taught to go with the small house. So you're competing against everybody, the brightest, the smartest, the most intelligent from a school standpoint. Like you got PhDs who want to be real estate investors or whoever, right? And if they're getting into the game, they all thinking small as well. So what's left is the slightly larger properties that people are afraid of, but that aren't so large that real big time investors want to deal with it. So there's like
mhm.
this like middle chasm that's like free free for the taking because everybody's taught to go for the low and they feel like okay, I can do the low, but now you're competing against everybody, people who have a PhD or a master's degree or whatever, right? And it's like it's weird that paradox of oh, go small because it's safer, but then now you're competing with everybody, and these are the best and the brightest as well. So,
I think a
it,
lot of times too, like sometimes like the gurus really kind of scare you a little bit though too about like you need to be really, really good at one thing for a year. Well, like I don't know if that's the best advice. Like I think knowing a lot is good, but and then starting to hone because I'm now doing four different ways. Um, and because I knew that this house was going to be better for this, and this house will be better for this, and I can do this with that, and I need to get some money, so I do need to flip a house so I can make some money. So like I kind of like put them all into to one when it was like a little bit scary. Like if you're going to wholesale, you need to be good at wholesaling, and like you have to do that. But I don't think for me that that was something that I could have done because I was here and I just needed to figure out a different way.
so for you, when they say focus, in my mind, what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with it. I like what you're doing because you can't always dictate what kind of deals are going to come your way. And plus, you're just kind of starting out. You've only been doing this for the last 2 or 3 years. And so you're just figuring out what real estate's all about. And so it's like, here's a deal, let me figure out how to do that. Here's a deal, let me figure out how to do that. And what I think you're doing is you're just getting experience under your belt. I think in the future, you could focus, you could be like the queen of multifamily rental properties or something like that. But before that, all of these little things that you're doing, they're equipping you with the knowledge you need so that you can focus on being the queen of multifamily. Because by doing the smaller deals, you're going to learn the little lessons that might cost you a little bit of money, right? They're going to hurt a little bit. Oh, why did I make that mistake? Why did I make that mistake? But then when you go with the bigger projects in the future, you're going to be like, oh, I know exactly how to do this and I know what to watch out for. So I
Mhm.
think all of these experiences, all of these like non-focused experiences are just gearing you up for that next thing. So I don't want you to feel bad about what you're doing because I think what you're doing is completely right on. I think it's
Awesome.
awesome. And I think if you continue to do this, that it will set you up to do bigger things because you'll have that understanding that other people won't have because you have all that wealth of experience underneath you.
Yeah,
So
I'm going for that.
ultimately, the strategy though, is where you want to create income where it doesn't require so much of your time. And so what you have to constantly ask yourself is like, what I'm about to do, right? You're going to ask yourself, is what I'm about to do in line with the strategy that I'm going after? Right? And it could be a long-term play. Actually, it 100% will be a long-term play. So you're about to do a flip. You go, is this in line with what I'm trying to do? And if it produces a lot of cash for you that allows you to buy the next property or the next 10 properties, then you go, yes, this is in line with what I'm trying to do because it's going to ultimately provide me the cash flow that I need, but also because the way I'm approaching it, I have a team in place, I have the agent in place, I have the contract, I have all those pieces in place where that property is so that they can handle it where I don't need to be there. Right? So that's a big piece of the strategy. You're not just taking on anything anywhere. You're taking on properties where you have a team in place where they can do it. And that's the key. And what you learned from wholesaling is you're spending crazy amount of hours trying to wholesale and it's your time and you're putting in all the effort and you can't walk away with from it without it falling apart. So
Right.
maybe wholesaling isn't for you, but flipping is, and then ultimately buying rentals is. So in terms of long-term strategy, I think you're right on track.
Yep. Yep. I plan, I like buying at the beginning of the year so then I can stabilize for the next couple of years and I'll buy at the beginning of the year next year and get my little tax breaks and then keep moving that way. So I think I'm done for this year. I'm gonna stabilize everything and then start again next year.
That's so cool. That's so cool because like you don't even you're not this person who's just like, no, I'm just gonna go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You're just like, well, I mean, you do want to do that, but
Mm.
you're okay with who you are and what you have achieved, what you are accomplishing. You're like, I'm good right here. Next year, I'm going to do more. Right now, I'm going to just make sure that these two or three or whatever, however many properties are going well. I think it's great. I think it's
Perfect.
fantastic because you're doing what 99.99% of people won't do. If you have a family, you have a spouse, you have a full-time job, you live out of the country, yet you're still figuring out how to make this all happen. You are doing everything right in my book, and it's so cool.
Perfect. Thanks. I
So,
appreciate it.
so what is it that you are trying to do? What's next for you? Where can I help you?
So, I mean, I- getting everything like organized, I'm really like trying to get my systems in place. That's probably like the worst thing. Um, I mean, I do spreadsheets and I make sure I keep track of all my properties and I have an accountant and I have a lady who structures my business and I believe like paying for good knowledge is fine if they're giving me what it is I need. I've had some people, of course, I've made mistakes getting programs that really didn't benefit me, but I mean, whatever, I just write it off to the game. I guess it's just getting organized and how do you do that? Is there like a, a way that you would suggest to do that?
Well, before we dive deeper into that, where do you feel unorganized? What's not working, or what are you trying to ultimately fix? Because organized is not a like a problem per se. What is the
Okay.
problem?
So, I mean, maybe I am organized. Maybe
See?
I'm
See?
more ahead of than what I think. I mean, I have spreadsheets and I have everything and I have my accountant and I ask a lot of questions. Um, I don't know. Maybe where could you help me? Like or advice of what I can do to be better.
Got it. Got it. So it always goes back to like, what is the actual problem? Most people don't sit to listen to what the other person's saying because I could have just gave you all kinds of advice. I could have been like, "Oh, download this app and hire this person and do this and that." And I could have talked to you about organization until you're blue in the face just to realize that organization is not even a problem for you. You have this mental like picture in your head that you need to be a certain way, and then in reality, your reality doesn't match that picture in your head. So then you think there's something wrong, but in reality, nothing's broken. So I ask you, where's the problem? And you're like, I don't actually have a problem. So then it's like, why do we fix something that's not broken? And
Okay.
so then it's like, are you trying to do something with your organization? Are you trying to do something with your books where you're like, oh, this is all messed up and I can't, I'm not doing what I want to do because this is broken. If that was the case, then we can fix it. But if it's just like you created a picture in your head and then reality doesn't match the picture in your head and then you think there's a problem, that's not really a problem.
Maybe I'm okay.
I think you're okay. So let's talk about other things. What else are
Okay.
you trying to what else are you trying to achieve, but maybe you don't know how to get to?
Um, I mean, if there's always like trying to find better ways to find deals. And like I say, I always use agents. I don't know if may maybe that has been the best like strategy. Like when I made friends with an agent, she actually gave me the sub two deal. She's like, I have a client that needs you to buy their house. And I was like, okay. Um, I, I g- I guess is where do I go from here? Like if this is a good plan, I don't know if this is a good plan. If this is I just live a simple life, probably like you. I don't buy name brand things. Like my husband won't let me buy a new car because I crashed them into the house. Like it's okay. I don't need a Land Rover because I probably need to just get a Toyota Camry. And that's we just live simply to travel and just be together and I plan to homeschool my daughter and do all these things. And I just want to, I guess maybe if I'm on the right plan to being free, I might be. I guess maybe I just need confidence.
Perfect. That is so perfect. You see how you like just talked it all out and then it just boiled down to, you know what, Hone? I just need confidence. And then if I let you go on for like 15 more minutes, you would boil that down to, Hone, just tell me that I'm doing okay.
That's
Right?
it. Am I doing okay? You've told me, so I feel good.
Yeah. So so I would say you're doing everything okay. So now, with a person who's doing everything okay, or everything's going well, you're on the right track. Now it's me helping you improve your strategy. So now this is an improvement, not a
Okay.
fix. Okay. So the improvement is just to do more of what you're doing. So in terms of how much money you have to go deploy, I would say start getting good at talking to people who have money to invest in your deals.
That's that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, I need to ask him how do I raise capital? That's what I need to know because I know there's some laws you need to meet face to face and if someone connects you and all that and like I don't want to do anything wrong. Um, I know that building capital is what like meeting private money lenders and like I actually asked you to recommend me a lender and I used him and he's great and he's amazing. But he's hard money and I would really like to build capital and build that's what I need help doing. But I don't
Absolutely.
know how to do that.
Fantastic. It's actually really simple. Yeah, you ready?
Yes.
You ask them.
Okay.
Hey, no, but to be more, let's say like detailed, you can here's something weird. When a person has money, you can kind of sense it. A person with money versus a person without money, you can kind of have a feel, even if they're real quiet and they're not like bolsterous, depending on like the lifestyle that they live, but then also the career that they have. Like you can be like, okay, you live this simple life. You don't own anything that's flashy at all. You work this job as a corporate whatever, like COO something, vice president of something, right? You're like, you have a decent job. You live a simple life. Your car is probably paid off. Your mortgage is probably nothing. So there's this like there's this difference, which I know you're just pocketing. You're just saving this money and it's growing and growing in your savings account, but you're not doing anything with it, right? And so you can look at people and kind of infer this kind of information without them literally telling you. So I remember early on when I re was raising money, I was talking to a neighbor of mine, and I said to her, "Hey, I don't know why I never thought about you about this, but you know how I'm investing in real estate." She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, every once in a while, I have more properties than I have the capital to go invest in those properties. So I don't know if you're interested, but if you ever wanted to put any of your money into my real estate deals, I have opportunities from time to time." And she was like, "Yeah, I don't know why you never thought about me either." And it's like she's ready to give me money. I never asked. So I didn't literally like say, "Hey, put money into my deal." What I said to her was, "Hey, I have these deals. I don't know if you're interested, but sometimes I have opportunities if you were interested." It's kind of like it's like one step away from me asking, literally, "Hey, can you put $50,000 into this?" It's I have some deals sometimes. I have more deals than I have money for. If you had some extra money, would you be interested? So it's a little one step back. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know why you didn't ask me." So it's building this rapport with people in such a way where it kind of makes them feel like, yeah, I want to be a part of it. So what you have to touch upon, depending on the person, is there's this like um there's a fear that you have to overcome, and then there's a greed that you have to like stroke a little bit, if you will. So the fear is, who is this person? Are they going to lose my money? Should I put my money with them? Right? And the answer is always no, because we as human beings have evolved to stay away from new things because new things could mean saber-toothed tiger is going to kill me. So, from a default mechanism, we are like, no, don't do it, risky, stay away. So, your confidence in your ability to take their money and do well with their money needs to be high enough to overwhelm their doubt. And so you have to accomplish that quickly and smoothly. So when I was talking to the investor, it's like, "Oh, I'm a real estate investor, right? So I got all these deals going on, and they're great deals, but sometimes I don't have enough money to do all of the deals." Right? And so right there, my confidence is I have so many deals. I'm making so much money. It's like, would you want to put your money in my deals? Which is like, I have no doubt that I'm going to do these deals and they're going to be profitable. The real question is, do you want to come along for the ride or not? So the fear for them, there's no doubt there, right? So I've banished the fear. Then you got to tap the greed. You have to like, stroke the greed or whatever. And you go like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing all these deals. I'm making all this money. Like, would you would you like to be a part of this?" And then they're like, "Well, yeah, because I'm always looking for a hot tip, a good deal, or something." And so if you're touching on both without seemingly like you're touching on either, that's how you do it, right? You have tapped into their brain and the two drivers. You squash the fear and you've made the greed come alive. And maybe in their head, it's not called greed, it's just them looking for a good opportunity. Call it what you will. I call it those two things so that like from a mnemonic device kind of thing, like a picture, you can picture it. Okay, there's these two forces, and I have to address both of them. You do that the right way, and then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, cool. I remember I raised money from another friend. Uh, I had these two business partners, and the one partner got a package of real estate deals. It was like 13 deals. They were all worth like, I don't know, 100 to $150,000. And we got to buy all of them for $35,000 each because a nonprofit was liquidating their portfolio and they just needed a simple transaction where somebody was like, "Okay, I'll buy the whole thing." Like you don't go cherry pick, "Oh, I want property 1, property 5, and property 7." You go, "No, I'll take all 13." So we bought all 13. So we're at dinner, me and my partners. I invited a couple of friends. And so me and the partners were so excited about the deals and we're talking about it and all that kind of stuff. And then the friends that are included in the dinner who are not real estate investors, who are just listening to the conversation, what do you think they want to do? Hey, do you want to put some money into this? Because we have some space if you want to put some money into this. So yeah, of course, right? And so again, you're tapping into this greed and fear thing. There is no fear because the deal was so good. So that fear is gone because the greed was just like, "Rawr." And so I was able to get more money from that person. Here's what's really cool. Once you get the money from the person the one time and you treat them well, you pay them on time, you pay them early, you do everything you're going to say, you do everything you say you're going to do. The next time you need money, it's just a phone call. Now you can be as literal as you want. Hey, I got a deal at 123 Main Street. I need $75,000. You want in? Like now they're just like, yes, right? Because you treated them so well in the beginning. And so do not discount the power of a small investment because you may start off with like, oh, would you like to invest $25,000? So like you could have had a friend give you that $25,000 instead of the credit card company. And here's another conversation you can have. Hey, hey Sarah, you know I'm a real estate investor, right? So I got this deal that just came my way, and I was going to use a credit card to actually fund the $25,000. But then I thought to myself, before I just use the credit card company, why don't I have a friend give me the money? And instead of me paying the interest to the credit card company, why don't I just give the interest to the friend? And so, Sarah, I thought about you. Would you be interested? Because I'm doing the deal either way. If you are not interested, if you can't do it, I totally understand. I'm just going to get the credit card money. But I just wanted to give you the opportunity before I went that direction. So you see, you're not needy. You're going, hey, I have this opportunity for you to make money. I'm doing this deal one way or the other, whether with you or without you. I'm just putting the ball in your court first to see if you want to make some money because I'm paying money out. It's either going to the credit card company or it could go to you if you have money sitting around not doing anything. And so now Sarah gets to be your investor. You take her $25,000. You go do your BRRRR strategy. You go buy the property, you renovate the property, and then you refinance it, whatever, right? You do the whole BRRRR thing. And then when you refinance, you pay her back with interest. And she's like, that's the easiest money I ever made. And you're like, I know, isn't it fantastic? So then when you call her again, hey Sarah, I got this other property. This one's slightly bigger than the last one. It needs a little bit more renovation. It's going to take about this much time. I need about $75,000. Would you be interested? And for that $75,000, you can make so and so. Oh yeah, fantastic. Here you go. Much quicker, much faster, way easier. It's just like done over the phone. And so I can pick up the phone now and call people and say, "Hey, would you be interested in so and so?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Here you go." They don't even ask for paperwork. People ask me all the time, Hone, what's your presentation look like? What's your presentation look like to raise the money from all these people? And I'm like, what presentation? What presentation? All I'm doing is asking them in this very strategic way. I'm asking them, would they be interested in being a part of this deal? Right. And so now I can just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I got this. Would you like to be a part of it? Easy peasy, easy peasy. But here's the key.
Mhm.
Always treat them well, even if it requires a loss from you. Let's say you did a deal, it didn't work out, the market changed, the contractor said there's more work than needed, whatever, whatever. You told your investor, hey, you invest $25,000 here and you'll make $3,000 in interest, right? Let's say that was the arrangement. Let's say you took a loss of $10,000. Well, guess what? You're about to take a loss of $13,000 because you're going to still pay your investor back the $3,000.
Mhm.
Always treat them better than you would treat yourself, right? Because
Got it.
they're the innocent bystander that trusted you. Do not destroy their trust by not paying them, even if you took the loss. So
Got it.
I've always done that. Here's the other thing that I like doing. Um, the refinances, the construction, sometimes that takes longer than expected. Hey, Jennifer, I know that February's coming up, and I know that that's when I was going to pay you back your money. My construction's a little late. My refinance is going to be a little late. right? And so what that's going to do is it's going to take us out until May, right? So that's 3 extra months. And by the way, I'm calling them a month or two beforehand. I'm not calling them the day that the money's due. I'm calling them beforehand. Hey, I just wanted to let you know your money is due 2 months from now. The way things are looking, it looks like I'm going to need an extra 3 months. But I just wanted to let you know this now. If you absolutely need your money in February, let me know and I will get it to you. But if you don't need it, if you don't need your money in February and you're okay with granting me the extension until May, I'm going to give you a little extra for that extension. So you tell me if you absolutely need your money, I'm going to do my best to get you your money on February as described. But if you're open and you don't need your money and you're okay with doing the extension, then I'm going to give you something as a bonus to say thank you for giving me that extension. Guess what they always say? Oh, I don't need the money. It's like you go take as long as you need, right? Thank you for calling me. That's so considerate. All of a sudden, you take a situation that could have been bad and you made it good. And you just built your credibility so high because they're just like, wow, he's so professional. He called me early. He told me the situation. He was completely transparent, and voila. What's opening up for you? I talked for a long time. What's opening up for you?
Yeah. So like I actually what's crazy is like my girlfriends have money, right? So I took them to see these properties in St. Louis and we saw a couple duplexes and we're like, no, no, whatever, this isn't gonna work. And then we got to this fourplex. It was awful. It was the worst ever. But the contractor sold us like this is going to be this and this is going to be this. And my girlfriends were like, yes, I see it. Jennifer, if I had the money right now, I would give it to you. I'm like, you do have the money though. But I believe if once I flip this property, I may have friends that would be willing to invest in the next projects that I have coming up. So that is like, because they saw what it looked like at the crap level, and they're going to see what it looks like at the finish level. And I think they will see that what I'm doing is actually going to profit them, and it could profit them and also help my business as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, right? Like you literally had them see the vision because you went to the properties. Now get good at painting the vision, even if you're not, because you're in Qatar and your friends might be in the States. So
Mhm.
you're gonna have to figure out how to paint that vision with your words over the phone or over Zoom and make it so that they see it and feel comfortable enough to give you that money.
Right. And I always say I'm in Qatar, but I did go back for 3 week break. And that's why I saw these properties before and I closed on them while I was in the States. And then I closed on some while I was here, but I also closed on some in the States as well. Um, so I was able to like show my friends what I'm doing so that like they can hopefully jump on board because they all are starting to accumulate money as we get older. And it would be good to invest with them as well. So that is just something that we were doing. So that's cool.
So some of your friends who work 9 to 5 jobs have a 401k. And some of these friends have money in a 401k where they were at an old job and then they switched jobs, but they didn't roll the 401k money over to their next job. That 401k money can be rolled into something like a self-directed IRA. And then that self-directed IRA could then be used to invest in your real estate deals. A lot of people don't realize you could do something like that. So sometimes, in terms of raising capital, it's about you educating your lenders or investors. And you say to them, hey, do you remember when we saw that fourplex and you said that you'd be interested if you had the money? Do you remember when you worked at XYZ company and then now you work at ABC company? Did you have a 401k at XYZ company? And they're like, yeah. Did you ever do anything with that 401k? No, it's just sitting in the Vanguard account from the old company. Perfect. Let's make that money grow. What do you mean? We can take that money, we can put it into a self-directed IRA, and then there you can lend that money to me, and then I can go put that money into the properties. I can do that. Do I have to pay a penalty? Do I have to pay taxes? Like, how does that work? Absolutely not. You don't have to because when you put roll the money from your 401k into the self-directed IRA. That IRA now is just investing in me, just like it would a mutual fund. So there's no difference there. And you don't have to pay any taxes and you don't have a penalty because you're not actually taking a distribution. All you're doing is you're investing in a different vehicle. Instead of a mutual fund, you're investing in Jennifer. That's the big difference. But it's totally allowed. And again, no taxes, no penalties. So nothing to worry about. And you're not doing anything with that money anyway. And you probably have a 401k at ABC company that you're at now. So consider this as a diversification where you have 401k in the mutual funds in the market at ABC company, and now your self-directed IRA can be invested in real estate. So now you have this diversified portfolio and you're not all in the market. So when the market takes a dive, your IRA money could still be growing. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm interested. Tell me more.
Perfect. That's I just got to get there and do it. And is there like any is there I heard that there is like some type of law about private money lending. Like, do you need to meet face to face? Do you need to meet on Zoom? Can you just be connected or what is that thing? It's something that I heard. I don't know.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is this, like when people are raising money through a syndication and it's a Reg D 506B or 506C, right? That's a way of raising capital where let's say you're doing a big project and you're doing it in a syndication model where there's a general partner, a GP, and then there's limited partners, LPs. The limited partners, all they do is bring money. They don't bring any expertise. They are not material to the operations, right? They don't have a role in the company. They're just investors. They are hands off completely. So 506B and 506C, they differ in the sense that if you're raising money from people that you don't know, then you have to do it in a 506C. And the people you raise from need to be accredited investors. You don't need to meet them. You're able to market on Facebook or whatever social media platform you want. You can say, hey, I'm raising money for this project, 123 Main Street. Would you like to be a part of it? They can give you money all day long as they're accredited. A 506B, as in boy, they need, if they're invested in your project, you need to have a prior relationship with them. Now, what is a prior relationship? It's vague. It's gray. It's like, do you have to meet in person or does Zoom count? So what you want to do is if you're raising in a Reg D 506B, B as in buddy, then you want to have a bunch of Zoom conversation, let's say three, where you don't ask them anything about anything. You're not like, hey, would you like to invest in this deal? You could just be like, hey, I can teach you real estate. And then you have a conversation with them. And then as you're having this conversation with them, you have it recorded, you save it, whatever. And then if you have, say, three of these interactions in the bank, if you will, you can then on the fourth conversation. Now, this is not legal advice or financial advice. Like this is not law. What I'm saying is not law. This is a kind of like rule of thumb that people follow, where if there's been three interactions without you raising money from them, then it counts that you have a prior relationship. So then on the fourth one, you're like, hey, by the way, I have 123 Main Street that I'm investing in. Would you like to be an investor on the project? And so, in terms of raising capital via a Reg D 506B, then I would say that that is above board. If you did a 506C and they were accredited, you can do anything with an accredited investor. They're fine. It's the
What is it? What makes them
non-accredited.
accredited? Like,
So, an accredited investor is a person who, if they're single, they make $200,000 a year or more. And if they're married, it's $300,000 a year or more. Uh, and or not and or they have $1 million of net worth, not including their primary residence. If they meet if they meet that criteria, then they are an accredited investor. You can raise money from them, 506C. You could have never met them in your life. You could take money from them and still have never met them, and you're good. It's the people who are not accredited investors that the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, is trying to protect. It's the people who don't know what they're doing, and then they hear someone who's a smooth talker like yourself going like, "Hey, put money in
Mm.
my deal." Well, you can do that if you had a prior relationship with them. If you went to high school with them for 20 years or blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? Or if you met them on social media, but then you guys interacted a handful of times and you have all of those records saved. Now, the truth of the matter is, if you raise money from people and everything goes well, you will probably never get in trouble because you only get in trouble when you raise money from people and the project goes bad and you lose their money and they get mad and then they call the SEC and they tell the
I need
SEC,
to call the SEC.
yeah,
I
oh,
do.
oh, because of your deal.
Yes. I'm gonna call them. I will find this guy.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
gonna call the SEC.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Securities Exchange Commission. But there you go,
Fine.
right? And so when things go bad, they will call the SEC. If you pay them back and pay them exact like the project went well, you paid them back, even if you only met them one time and you didn't record it and you just said, "Hey, put money in my deal." And you did it in a 506B or whatever, right? But everything goes well, who's calling anybody about anything? They're calling you to say, "Thank you so much for including me in your project." So you don't get in trouble,
Ah, I need to do that. Okay.
right?
I'm going
So
to call
now,
my lawyer now.
right. And so now the other thing is though, that is for 506B, 506C. What you're doing is not either of them. What you're doing is you're raising capital for like a one-off project. And
Okay.
so when you're raising people, okay, so let me break it down for you a little deeper. This is getting into the weeds, but there's three types of capital that you're going after. There's going to be lenders, partners, and investors. Lenders, partners, investors. Uh, what we just talked about was the investor. They are investing money into a deal, but they have no material participation in the deal. They're not telling you what color paint to paint the door, right? They're just giving money. Then you have the partners. Your partners are the people who have material participation, meaning that they have a role. They're like in charge of organizing the books for the project, right? They have ownership in the project. They have ownership in the project, and they also are involved in the project. When you raise in a 506B or C, they have ownership in the project, but they have no role. You see the difference? One has a role,
Hmm.
one doesn't have a role, right?
Hmm.
So the partners have a role. The third one that we didn't talk about is your lenders. So, hey, Sarah, I'm going to do a project on 123 Main Street, and I wanted to see if you wanted to put $150,000 into the deal. She's a lender. She doesn't have any interest. I'm sorry, she doesn't have any equity in the project, right? She's not an owner whatsoever. So she's not a partner. She's not an investor. She's a lender. So she's lending money with interest as the exchange, right? She has no ownership in it. You tell her, I'm going to give you 8% interest. And she says, okay. Now, how you stay safe in that one, this does not have the same rules as the 506B where you have to have prior relationship and you record all no. Why this differs is because as a lender, as long as they're getting the right paperwork, then you're fine. So the right paperwork would be a note and a mortgage. If you're giving them a note and a mortgage, then you are above board. Now, a lot of people will teach that you want to protect your lenders. And so you want to give them the right paperwork, but you want to go a little bit above and beyond. So you can go note, mortgage, personal guarantee, confession of judgment, deed in lieu. You can put them on the insurance policy. And so, and you can do the assignment to rents and leases, right? So you can give them like these seven pieces to protect them, but bare minimum, you got to do the two note and the mortgage, right? And so that's if you give them the note and the mortgage, you're above board. Again, always check with your financial advisor and your CPA and your attorney and all that kind of stuff and verify everything that I'm saying because this is not legal advice, financial advice. This show is pure entertainment. Hopefully, everybody listening, you guys are all entertained. But the note is the document that says, I, Jennifer, am going to be borrowing $150,000 at 8% interest, and I'm going to borrow it from January 1st, 2025 until December 31st, 2026, right? And the mortgage is what collateralizes the property in case you don't pay the note. So you said that you were going to borrow $150,000 and you pay back 8% interest. If you don't do those things, the mortgage is what allows them to foreclose on the property because you didn't pay the note, right? So the mortgage is the document that says you're going to pledge this property in return for this note. If I don't pay the note per what the note says, then you may foreclose on this property. So that's how the note and the mortgage differ.
I landed on a deal that went bad, and I still have my name on the property. It's in El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get my money back. I'm on the second lien holder position. I have a lawyer. The guy's disappeared. The lady that signed is known for fraud in the area, so I don't know if that's ever going to happen. It's just I'm trying to figure out how I may ever get my money back if I can. So I'm still on
So,
the property and the property hasn't foreclosed yet. So, but I don't know.
okay. So
I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
let me ask you questions then.
Yes.
So you lent money on this property or
I,
you
l-
are owner of the property?
I,
Or both?
l- I'm a second lien holder.
Okay. So you're second lien holder. So you got your note and the mortgage.
I believe so. Yeah. Title
A-
company
and
and a
what
personal guarantee.
and was it recorded?
Yes. In
Great.
El Paso, Texas.
So then, as I mentioned, this person did not perform per the note. They said that they're going to borrow X number of dollars and pay you back X number of percent. They did not. So you have this mortgage that says, I get to foreclose. That gives you
So,
the right to
yes.
foreclose.
Mhm.
And then you said the third piece of documentation, which was personal guarantee. So
Mhm.
when you foreclose on this property, if you don't get paid it back in full, because there's a first position, it's first position because they get paid back first. And then whatever's left over, if there's enough to pay you, fantastic. If there's not enough to pay you, oh well. But that's where the personal guarantee comes in. Because let's say that you lent $10,000. I'm just making it up. So you lent $10,000. After the first position loan gets paid off, and let's say there's only $5,000 left. So you collect the $5,000, but you're $5,000 short. That's where you go after them personally and you put like a judgment on them or whatever. And you're like, hey, you personally guaranteed this. You still owe me 5 grand. So you get to go after them personally for the 5 grand. So that's how you get
How
your
do you
money back.
find them?
That's for your that's for the lawyers
Those are the lawyers coming
and
in. Yeah.
collection agencies and all that kind of stuff to
Yeah.
tell you.
We're having a big time, but it's okay. It's my dumb mistake.
But
I know.
but you might be able to foreclose. Is the property worth
We
anything?
we are foreclosing.
Okay.
So we'll see. It's a four unit El Paso. El Paso properties are not the most beautiful. Um,
It doesn't matter as long as the value's there.
I was they're like, if I'm foreclosing, they're telling me like you have to find a way to pay the mortgage if you can. I was like, I don't even know how to get to it. Like I'm just trying to figure it
You don't
out.
have to pay what mortgage?
Pay the first mortgage, like if I won
You
the
don't have to pay
note,
the first mortgage.
no, like pay the monthly mortgage if I wanted to keep the property.
You're not keeping the property because you don't own the property.
I don't want to keep the property.
Do you
Yeah, I
know?
don't know. I'm getting a
So,
lawyer, so I'm figuring it
so a
out.
foreclosure is where you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go after this property, whatever, right?" And let's say you win. What you do is when you foreclose on it, now it's a REO, like a real estate owned, like you're in the bank and you own it now. You can
Mhm.
then sell the property and then pay off the first.
Okay. I think that's what we're looking to do. We have it's something's going to auction.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so at auction, so when you click the button to foreclose, what happens is the county's like, okay, this is now going to the mortgage auctions versus the tax auctions. There's two like share of
Mm-mm-mm.
sales. There's tax and then there's mortgage. So they're not on the hook for the tax foreclosure, but now they're on the mortgage foreclosure. Typically, the first position mortgage company will pay the taxes because they don't want to lose the property to the tax foreclosure. So the mortgage
Mhm.
company will pay the taxes on behalf of the owner, but now their first position mortgage is growing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you would foreclose from a second position lien. It goes to auction, and then at the auction, at the sheriff's sale, people are like, I'll give 100,000, 105, 110, whatever it lands at, boom, it lands there, and then it tries to pay off the first with that money, and then it tries to pay off the second with that money.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Okay.
if if say the the bank, like typically it's a bank doing this, the bank will send an attorney there to represent themselves. And then if the bids don't go high enough, the bank themselves will bid to buy the property.
Okay.
And then that's when it becomes like they own it. And then they can
Okay.
go sell it or whatever.
All right. We will see.
One other thing you could do, which is a long shot, very, very long shot, you could sell your note. You can sell your position to somebody else who buys positions.
Notes.
Yeah, buys notes, right? And so what you would be doing is you're selling a second position non-performing note. And a second position non-performing note, it doesn't sell for that much,
Hmm.
but it has some value.
So maybe I can get some back.
You can get some back. How
That's fine.
much? It I don't know. But what you have has some value.
Okay. All
It's just
righty.
it depends on what the market says that value is. And the way
Got
that
it.
they do the math behind it all is it's like um how much is the property worth? How much debt is in the first position? How much debt is the second position? How long it's been delinquent for and does it need work? And all of these factors. There's so many different factors that go into determining the price for your note that's in second position that's non-performing. If you are second position performing, it's got a different value. And if it's a
Mhm.
first position performing, it's got a whole different value, right? And so your positioning, your status, and then also how the property lines up with that debt all come into play when coming to price it. So you could
Got
sell
it.
it and not even worry about doing the attorneys, not doing the foreclosures, not you just, okay, I took a little lesson, not loss. I paid for a lesson, and now with this lesson, I've gotten back a couple bucks. All good.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, all
Yep.
right.
So, like in the future, what you could do is maybe get more information from the person you lend the money to. So, like,
Mhm.
have their information so that if they ever try to run off or whatever, you can track them easier. So that's number one. Uh, you can do a background check on that person. That's number two. Kind of like when you get a tenant and you do
Mhm.
a tenant screening, you can do like a
Lending
borrower
screening.
screening.
I was young
It's
and
okay.
in year one.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. Look, none of us are going to get out of this alive, right?
Yeah,
And what I mean by that is
exactly.
like, we're not, none of us are going to live forever. But how much life did you live while you were alive? And you have stories for days. And I think that's the most valuable thing of all is having all these
Yes.
stories to share with people, to share with your kids and your grandkids and whatever. Just like, hey, I used to do this and I did that and I did this. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, Grandma. I would have never done that. You're so brave. And then now you've changed their trajectory because now they're like, Grandma did it. I could do it, right? It's like, so I think the story is so much more valuable than the
Mhm.
cost of the story a lot of times
Yeah, it's
because you
good.
always get to make more money, right? You always
Hmm.
get to make more
Right.
money, but you can't go back in time and say like, oh, I should have done this. Like you can't, you didn't. You have
Right.
a story now. And so
Yeah.
how the story ends, you sell the note to somebody who buys second position loans who maybe is better equipped to doing the foreclosure and they look at the 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 loan or I'm sorry, yeah, the loan to value, they look at the loan to value and they're like, "Oh, I'll do this all day long because I can foreclose, I'll get paid off, I'll get all my money." Here's what happens. Let's say your note is for $10,000, but it's the second position non-performing. But let's say that the first position is 100,000. So total is 110, right? First position is 100, second position is 10,000. Then the property is worth $200,000. The second position is like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy the note from Jennifer for 1,000. And then they're gonna do the whole foreclosure process and whatever. And at the end of the day, they're gonna get all 10,000 back. Like they're gonna be
Mhm.
paid in full, even though they only paid out $1,000.
Got it.
And maybe the foreclosure process, I don't know, it cost them $4,000 or something. So they're all in for $5,000, but then they got $10,000. So they doubled their money.
Right.
Maybe it's not worth it to them to, to risk like to double their money, but maybe your note's not 10,000. Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe your note's $30,000 and they buy it for $5,000. And now they have the upside of $20,000 after including cost for the foreclosure, right? And so it's just a math equation for them. They know they're
Right.
taking on some risk, but then there's a significant upside for taking on that risk.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Okay.
for those out there who are looking for a simple way to wealth, right? And who maybe have a full-time job, they don't have a supportive spouse, they have kids, they have this, they have that, they have everything stacked against them in their head, just like you did in reality. What would you say to them to help them get over this hump? Why is it that you are able to do what you did and why so many people are not doing it?
I just am ambitious, and once I get an idea, I'm gonna do it. So, I get creative in my brain and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And you just have to follow through. I think you
But
just
weren't
need
you
to do
scared?
it.
But weren't you scared?
Yeah. I was gutted when I lost $20,000. I was gutted, but like I pulled all my money out of I had a mutual fund that every time I put $5,000 in, the $5,000 kept falling out. Like the stock market wasn't doing well. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to take this money out and do something with it. And I just pulled it out and figured out what I needed to do. And I watched a lot of videos and read a lot of books and I did a lot of research. It's not easy. It wasn't an easy, I was just falling into like all these deals where I was cold calling. I was doing all the things that you do, and then I don't know if it was luck or I got some good deals. Then I wholesaled them, and I felt good, and then I would move on to the next thing. So like I really like I did took a long time to get focused, and then when I realized what I'm going to do, things just started coming together. Like agents were calling me and saying I have deals, and my contractors were calling me saying, "Hey, I have this house. Do you want to flip it?" Because like when you're flipping a house, really, if you're not there and you're not the contractor, you're just moving money around. Like you're paying for some materials and you're getting a loan for it, and it's really not as hard as you think it is. It's, oh, I don't flip houses. You don't have to be there to flip the house. You find somebody who knows how to do it, and they're going for the construction costs. You're going for the profit. So actually, like you can make partners. I'm making a partner with my contractor in Florida that he's going to be my new partner. So when he flips the house with me, I'm going to pay him for his construction and we're going to partner and we're going to split the profit. Because all I'm doing is pushing money. Like I have the good credit score, I have the way to get the money. And it makes him work harder for me. It makes him because he knows that we're going to close this house fast. We're going to keep the landscaping up and everything is going to go smoothly if you just have to pick the right partner. I mean, I had a bad partner who didn't do what she said she was going to do. I paid her anyways. Like I'm not going to burn a bridge. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, "Okay, I pay you. You didn't do what I needed you to do, but anyways, I just won't partner with you again." Like I've made a lot of mistakes being a long distance flipper or a long distance real estate investor, but I've also learned a lot of things too. So you just have to be willing to take the risk, I think, and go for it.
How just willing to take the risk. I think that one's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of
Mm.
people. What were you just like, okay, I if I lose, I lose? Like, was it
I I mean, I was because I was like, I have a job, I'm teaching. Um, if I lose all this money, I mean, what am I gonna do? I already figured out a way how to make wholesaling. I'll just have to try harder, or I'll just have to find something else. There's so many people I could follow. I could jump on a deal with somebody. I'm good at talking to people. And now, like, I've learned a lot of things, like how to negotiate, what price I need to get something at to make it profitable. Like, I have people, oh, let's buy this house. I said, that's not enough spread. We can't make that work. And we just need to know how to say no, and you need to know when to say yes. You just make some mistakes, and you make making mistakes and swallowing it and learning from it I think that's the hardest part.
right? They often say the biggest mistake is, or the biggest risk is not taking any risk,
Hmm.
right? Because a lot of times people have this job, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, if you say no to the opportunity of becoming a real estate investor, if you say no to taking on any risk, you know what you have. Like you have your life where you get paid X amount of dollars every week or 2 weeks, and that's it. There's no upside to that. But if you say yes, there's a whole new world that opens up and all new possibilities for you to make $18,000 here and $20,000 here and $100,000 in equity there, right? There's a whole world of opportunity opens up. There's some perils, there's some risk that you have to be mindful of, but you don't just go like, okay, you only live once, like YOLO, right? Like you don't just like go and do stuff. You try to do it educated. So now, simple, the P is to protect. And the nice saying that goes with protect is hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So some people are afraid of losing money. It sounded like you went through wholesaling first because maybe you had the same kind of thinking, because with wholesaling, you can wholesale and you don't have to put any money up. Wholesaling is
Hmm.
just you assigning a contract for a property. You never had to buy the property. All you had to do is find somebody who wanted to buy the property and find somebody who wanted to sell the property. And you're just a middle person and you make the $18,000 or whatever it is between how much the person wants to sell it for and how much the person wants to buy it for. You don't have to put up any
Right.
money. So
Hmm.
wholesaling allows you to get a big upside with zero downside other than your time
Ooh, and patience. If you
and
have
patience.
usually the seller is not that easy.
It depends. It
I
depends.
had a really bad, it's quite bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
it came down to the end and I made it.
that's all situational. That's all
Yeah.
situational. And I say that because like I've some of the wholesale deals that I've done, easiest deals I've ever done in my life.
Hmm.
And sometimes I'm just I'm the middle, I'm the middleman to middlemen. And what that means is I had a friend or one of my students, he called me. Actually, he sent me a text message. So he sent me a text message. He was like, "Hey, Hone, I got this property on 123 Main Street, and they want to sell it for $40,000." I said, "I know exactly the person who would buy that property at 123 Main Street, but I just need it to be at say $30,000, not $40,000, and then we can get my friend to buy it for $40,000 and then we will make the $10,000." So I said, hold on. And then I sent the text message to my friend. I said, hey, I got the property at 123 Main Street. It's $40,000. Do you want it? He said, yes, I want it. It's exactly what I want. I want properties in that area for that price. I said, cool. I went back and I told the guy, my student, and I was like, hey, I need you to say these exact words to the seller. Say this, right? And it's almost like a script. He said, okay, I told them, I told them like, hey, I love your property. I'm gonna buy it. Here's the thing, I gotta buy it for $30,000, and then you can drop your price from 40,000 to 30,000. We got a deal. We'll close in 2 weeks. It'll be the easiest transaction you've ever done. Like I forget exact words that I said to him to tell to the seller. But he said it and he said, Hone, it worked. They agreed to the $30,000. I said, fantastic. So we got it under contract for $30,000. I turned around to my friend, $40,000, made it all work. I didn't find the property. My friend did. And the seller, or I'm sorry, the buyer was my friend. So I was just the middleman between the middlemen, right? And it doesn't have to be difficult. It could be very,
No.
they were, here's the thing, they had this property. The reason it was $30,000 or $40,000 because it needed so much work. They couldn't wait to get rid of it. You're willing to buy it as is? Oh my God. Here you go. Oh, I just need a
That's what my fourplex I bought for. I mean, well, my agent found it for 25 and they charged me 25 wholesale fee. And I was like, whatever, I'll pay it. Let's go.
right. So it doesn't have to be difficult, and you prepare for the worst by having no money in the deal, right? You hope for
Mhm.
the best. You hope to make 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, whatever wholesale, and then you prepare for the worst. Like the worst is the deal doesn't go through. That's okay. I didn't have any money in the deal.
Mhm.
Oh well.
Right.
Right? And so you can protect yourself. You can protect the deal. You just have to think. not only about like, oh, this flip is going to be amazing, this wholesale is going to be amazing, I'm going to make $1 trillion. You got to think like, how do I protect against the worst case scenario? So I was listening to you, and you were telling me like you're going to partner with your contractor in Florida. Okay, sounds great on surface. He's going to work really hard because he has incentive. I've heard of situations where partner had all the incentive in the world, it went terrible.
Hmm.
So how do you prepare for the worst? When you partner with that person, make sure you have a lawyer draft up the partnership agreement to where if the partner doesn't perform, they are not going to be included in the profit share or whatever. Or like if the partner doesn't perform, that the other partner can kick that person off. And
Okay,
then
would that be like the JV agreement that
Mhm.
you would just a JV agreement, but put in the stipulations
You talk
as
talk to your attorney, not
oh
the company's attorney, not the
okay,
JV's attorney, not you need someone to represent you
okay,
to watch for your best interest. So
okay.
remember, hope for the best. Hope that your contractor fulfills in its duty and that you sell the property for big profit and you guys both make $1 million. Prepare for the worst, have the JV agreement, say things like if your contractor doesn't perform the way he's supposed to, if he doesn't do the work, if he doesn't do the work to the quality that it needs to be, if he doesn't show up, if he doesn't this, if he doesn't that, if he doesn't hit these milestones, here are the consequences. He doesn't get to participate in the profit. He can be kicked off of the project altogether because
Mhm.
all too often these JV agreements, they're like boilerplate where it's just like a generic one and it just says like, okay, we're 50 partners. And so if it doesn't give you the provisions to take over the property and to kick him off, then if you have to take over the project because he's like, oh, I got paid all this money, I'm going to the Bahamas for vacation and I'm not working on the project at all, you're stuck.
Mhm.
You now have to finish the project with a different contractor. And then when you sell the property and you make a profit, guess who deserves the other 50% of that profit? Mr. Bahamas.
Yeah, yeah.
Because your contract doesn't say anything about him not performing or whatever.
Right. The contract, well, what I had with him before was he wouldn't get paid until the job was done. Like he wouldn't get his money until his list of schedule was complete. So that was
So
always
that's the
worked.
contractor money part. But what
That's the
about the profit
contractor
part?
money. So the profit part, that's where I failed at that one too. But yeah,
It's okay.
I know I need to write that in the JV agreement for I'll get yeah, definitely. But I
Yeah.
think it's also works good for me because he actually did a lot of work for this property that he didn't have any partnership in. He just helped me anyway. So I feel
Yeah.
it's a good relationship. But and I
Yeah.
know that things can go south quickly. And but that's I will take that risk though. And if we have a contract, then it would be okay. I believe it's gonna be all right.
Hope for the best. So far, you've been good. Hope that he always performs for the rest of his life and your life, and as long as you guys are together. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Prepare for
Or
the
for the worst.
worst.
Got it.
That's it. Just prepare for the worst. And then you get to sleep better at night.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this happened, that happened, whatever. Like, at least you know what the downside is, and you
Mhm.
know whether you can absorb that downside or not.
Right.
Right? Because imagine he gets paid something or whatever, materials even. You paid for the materials and he doesn't do any work. And then you have to hire a different contractor and now your profit has gone way down. And then whatever profit that you do make, you still have to split it with him and he didn't do any work. Like life
Mhm.
changes, people change.
Right, right. Got
Like
it.
think about this. Think about this. Everybody who's ever been scammed out of money never said to themselves before they got scammed, "Oh, I this guy looks like a scammer. Let me give him my money." Never
Exactly.
in the history of the world did anybody ever say, I think this person is a scammer, but I'm going to give him my money anyway. It was
Mhm.
always like, this person's so great. This person's that. Here's my money.
Right.
Right?
Got it. Hmm.
Yeah. So things are good. Let's keep them that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
I think you're well on your way to having changed your whole family's trajectory and everything and who you are and becoming as a real estate investor. Amazing. Amazing. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You're gonna take your lumps. It comes with the territory. We all take our lumps. And
Mhm.
you just keep on moving forward and you keep doing more deals. More money can be made. So
Yes.
if that's it. But what can't be made is the stories from your past of
Hmm.
how you found the courage to take action, how you get to be an inspiration to your daughter, how she gets to look at you and go, wow, mommy did all of that stuff despite her being out of the country, despite daddy not supporting her immediately. Daddy supports her now. So
Yes.
so so daughter, your mom is great, your dad is great. And you and having both of them together the way that they are, it's like yin yang, right? It's like
Mhm.
two sides of the same, they're slightly opposite. They keep each other balanced. That's why your car has a gas pedal and a brake pedal. Both are important. So your family dynamic, fantastic. So your daughter gets to look at you, your husband, your family, where you guys are. And it's all because you decided that if somebody else can do it, why not me?
Exactly.
And here you are. You're doing it. You got all these deals, and it's almost like no barrier can stand in your way. You've overcome so many of them. It's so cool.
Thanks so much. You
Yeah.
brought my confidence up. I feel good.
That was the objective, right?
And
That's
thanks
what.
for the credit card tip.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for being so ambitious and looking me up on YouTube and then contacting me and then getting on a Zoom like this. So cool.
Yes, perfect. All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks so
So
much.
yeah, you're very welcome. And for everybody listening, Jennifer is a perfect example of what's possible. And it doesn't have to be grandioso. You don't have to go big or go home. You can just do a couple of deals a year and just scale up from there. And Jennifer spent a bunch of years just studying. All she did was watch videos and talk to people, and she built her team, and she just did it piece by piece. She's an overnight success. It only took a couple of years.
Yeah. I
So,
could say I'm a millionaire.
right. It's so cool. It's so cool. Now, the show is called Simple Ways to Wealth. It is not easy ways to wealth, but what we do is we break it down into simple ways for you guys to find wealth so that you guys can live the life that you're always desiring, really. Look, everybody has a dream. On this show, we just try to show you how to actually achieve that dream. So, with that, that is the show. Jennifer, thank you for your time today. And everybody else, I'll catch you in the next episode. See ya.